Hello, everybody. I'm Maria with the Oak Initiative, and I am here with Congressman Ralph Norman. And today we're going to be talking about the importance of the election. And most of you know this. However, we're going to be talking about the impact of this election on the Christian church.
Well, I think now we're at a crossroads in this country. People always ask me, why can't the two sides get together? Mm-hmm. And we have two different worldviews. You have one worldview that thinks government can do it better, one view that thinks that the private sector really has no place, versus those of us who think that democracy is freedom. And democracy has existed for 230 years in America. And if we choose the socialistic way, which could easily happen if this president's not reelected, mm-hmm. because he's already said he's raising taxes, mass immigration, going to allow abortions to continue. Roe v. Wade will not be reversed, which I hope it will be as time goes on. And it's a choice between what's made this country great and what's going to take it down. And the reason it impacts every church in America is because as taxes go up, and really what you're saying is let government spend money. Mm-hmm. Don't let the individual who makes it spend
yes.
it. Why should they spend our dollars?
Yes.
How many churches are not going to be able to expand because we're sending more and more to the federal government than that should be the right of every American? If you want to give it to a church, Salvation Army, any institution that you feel like orphanage that you want to donate to, it ought to be our choice. Yes. It's freedom.
Yes.
And if we don't fight for it, then we're going to lose it. And as President Reagan said, we're only one generation away from extinction. That literally is true in this election.
Yes.
And so there is no crossing across the table to deal with these people that think that socialism is the best way. It's never worked. Why are we having everybody come across the border into the U.S. instead of leaving? They're not leaving to go to Cuba, mm-hmm. not leaving to go to the Soviet Union, not leaving to go to China. And so the other thing I would point out to you is there's never been in the history of mankind where two democracies have fought.
Yeah. It's
always been a country that had press freedom and were tyrannical rule. And that's something the American people have got to fight. We got to get our voice back, mm-hmm. speak up. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders made a talk where she mentioned she went through the Holocaust in Israel, and she went through and saw the pictures of the dead bodies stacked up, the children, the shoes, and at the end she thought, why didn't somebody do something? Mm-hmm. Why didn't somebody do something?
The church you're speaking of.
The church.
Exactly. We need to stand up. And could you comment a little bit about how the church is suppressed? I mean, I think most of us know in China and socialist countries, the church is greatly inhibited, if not completely banned, in countries, socialist and communist countries.
Well, look what's happening to the Uyghurs in China.
Yes, exactly.
They're oppressed. Look what happens to any protester. He gets shut down. We have what we call peaceful protesters that are burning buildings, and any protest in a communist country would get shut down and thrown in jail, if not their life taken.
Yeah.
So, the fact that we're having to deal with that now, and the fact that we're letting criminals get away with suppression of free speech. Mm-hmm. The other suppression that churches are having and that our democracy is having is the social media giants are banning
yes.
anything they deem unacceptable. And the conservative views have been banned. Mm-hmm. And explain to me how a democracy can exist if you don't have a free flow of information.
So it's kind of, in my view, a cynical belief that the government is smarter than we are.
It's exactly right.
I didn't mean to lead you on that, but do you see that yourself?
Absolutely, and it's taken away all of our power. Mm-hmm. It's taken away the power of the individual.
Yes.
And if you think about it, government is made up of individuals. It's just who has the power.
Yes.
And, America owes owes its citizens one thing: an opportunity. Not an outcome, but an opportunity to succeed, to fail. And that's all this country owes. We've gotten so far away from providing an opportunity. Government is not the answer. Less government is the answer. The reason people are wanting to come here are the things that democracy has made it appealing.
Yes.
Look at the riches of this country. It would never have happened in a socialistic, communist society because the government holds the people down.
Yeah.
They only allow what they allow, and when you break it on down, it's people oppressing other people. That's why we left England, is
Yes.
oppression and overtaxation. And so we've got to get our voice back. We've got to take action. And I use the example of a seed that, and I teach all my children the miracle of a seed. I mean, how does something lay dormant? And then all of a sudden, when you put it in the ground, you get fruit. And now, more than ever, we've got to sow seeds of democracy.
We do.
Now, if it stays in the pouch and never gets planted, that's our fault. You got to plant the seed. The miracles will happen. But we've lost that desire in this country, and I think it's really we've got to get it back. We got an opportunity on November 3rd, and hopefully we're going to come out.
I have one final question. We have a little bit of time before the election. What can you suggest to anybody watching who wants to become involved more than just placing a vote? What can a person do?
Great question. Everybody has spheres of influence. Now, in our home state of South Carolina, Trump is up. I'm confident we're going to carry that. Now, North Carolina, Florida, Michigan, Pennsylvania, other states, if you have contacts, and everybody does, call them and just say, and talk to them about how important this is to you.
Yes.
Say why it's important to you and have a discussion. People take voting for granted. When it's kind of like your health. When you lose your health, you realize what you had. If we lose our vote and right to voice our opinion through the people we elect, we've lost our way, and we've lost our democracy. That's the most important. That's the downside we'll face. But do that. Get involved with other people. Give your time, your tithe, and your talent. Everybody's good at something. It may not be making phone calls. It may be putting up signs. It may be hosting an event. Prayer is what I would say is the best thing right now. Get home groups to people to pray. Donald Trump, in my opinion, was providential. He wouldn't have been there without prayer. Exactly. We're not going to make it through this election without prayer. And, when I saw the Supreme Court, I think it was in Nevada, strike down a ruling where a church, it was a mega church, could get together and meet, yet they let go the gambling casinos, which had far more people than the churches did over an extended period of time. That's when I knew the assault on the church was real.
Exactly. Thank you, Ralph Norman, and thank you for listening to us.